It's Hollie's Hotspurs back with another one. Chatting all things Tottenham, we're second to none. Special guests every time, if it's win, lose or draw. The passion is high like Harry Kane when he scores. Or when Lloris makes a world-class save. We got Højbjerg running the mid every game. Settle down, stick around, share your thoughts with the panel. And make sure you're subscribing to the channel. Coys.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Hollie's Hotspurs Live, which I think tonight is pretty much going to be a therapy session. I don't think any of us saw it coming, and then I remember that Southampton saved the day, which I never thought I'd ever say in my life. But there we go. But with me tonight to dissect kind of everything that happened or everything that we found really frustrating, I have three fabulous guests. With me again, we have Patrick. Patrick, how are you on this fine Monday?
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm happy to be here. It's great to be here with Jay and Formz and obviously yourself, Hollie. So in that sense, I'm good, but we're going to get into the Spurs result. What a bummer. These 12:30 kickoffs, man, I hate them. Because if they go wrong, your whole weekend's ruined. Like literally. So, anyway, let me not talk too much, but I'm good. And thank you for having me on yet again, of course.
No worries. Thank you for joining me. Like I say, it's always a pleasure to have you on. So thank you for agreeing to coming on, especially for a game like this one. Jesus.
I know. When you messaged me saying, are you still coming on? I was like, do I have to? Like...
Oh, there we go. Also, we're joined by Formz. I mean, Kev already is saying Formz' intro's lit, which I must say it is still.
Thanks, Kev.
So, Formz, how are you today?
I'm good. I feel like I'm over it, but I'm not over it to the point where I can't rant about it for the next hour. So bring it on.
I love it. I mean, that's a good answer on one of these shows. So thank you so much, Formz. And also joining us once again, he made a great show last week. I've invited Jay back on again. So Jay, how are you this evening?
Yeah, not too bad again, minus the result and losing my 100% win streak of watching Tottenham live and winning was absolutely devastating. So I did jinx it last week. I did say that I hadn't lost yet, but there we go. Serves me right.
Always the way.
I was going to say it's your fault. We'll blame it on you, Jay, not Brighton playing so well. But there we go. Never mind. Let's kind of dive into it because I think we're all kind of sitting here thinking prior to this game, we're all very confident for it. And I don't think that would be anybody bigging themselves up because I think we were quite confident after beating Newcastle and beating Villa so heavily. But Patrick, I'll come to you first because the lineup was exactly the same as we've seen week in, week out. Now, I don't know whether that's coming a problem because against Brighton, we didn't really change anything. But how are you kind of feeling when that lineup came out?
Yeah, confident, happy. Shout out to Chris. Exactly that. What a bummer. But yeah, to be honest, Holes, I was happy with the lineup. We know our strongest 11. The only change I would make is obviously if Doherty's in, you take out Emerson Royale. But other than that, it's spot on. It's our strongest 11. That 11 pretty much would put fear into anyone the way we had been playing up into that game. So I had no qualms with the lineup. I was happy. I predicted a 3-0. I was confident. I know Brighton are a good team. I respect them. They're good they're decent on their day as they've shown in the last two results. But I thought we'd have way too much for them. We've beaten much better teams. We're at home. We're ready. We know exactly what we need to do. And I didn't see anything other than a Tottenham win. So I don't know. Maybe we was a bit too ahead of ourselves and big for our boots. But it was just a crap day at the office. Honestly, we created nothing. We did nothing. Brighton stifled us. They did really well. They closed down the passing lanes. They stopped Harry Kane dropping deep. Bentancur. The problem is, Holes, too many people had an off day. And yeah, one or two players can have a bad day. We get it. But when the whole team plays shit, you're in trouble. I don't recall anyone having a good game. Even at the end of the game, Romero, it's not really like him to fluff his lines like that. Usually he just boots that ball away or makes a calm pass. He messed up. Then, flipping Dyer then gets dropped with his shoulder by I can't remember the name of the goal scorer. But
Trossard.
Trossard, that's it. And then he beats Lloris with a nice, cool finish. And it's just from top to bottom, man. It was just a bad day at the office. And for me as well, Conte had a bad day at the office as well because from the first 45 minutes, we weren't in the game, but Brighton didn't really trouble us. But second half, Conte took way too long to change it up. We were literally, it was a snooze fest, wasn't it? I thought it was gonna a 0-0. I was annoyed. Okay, we drop a couple points, but if you don't win the game, you don't lose it, and you don't lose it in that manner. The 90th minute, there's no way you can come back when they score so late in the day. So it was just a catastrophe from top to bottom. The good thing is, though, is that that's probably the worst I've seen us play in the last 8 or 9 games. Even when we lost to Man United, we were good on the day. We should have won that game. So if you're looking at it in context, in the last 8 games, we've lost 2, won 6. Obviously, the Man United game was a bad result, but we played well in that game. So this is the first time I've seen us play bad with nothing in the last 8 games. So it's not as bad as it could be, but obviously it is a bummer because we could have put ourselves clear of the chasing pack with a win.
I know, and I think that's such a frustrating thing. Yes, it was only 1-0, but you think to yourself, come on, Dad, we've been beating teams 4-0, 5-1, and then when it really mattered, we can make that gap even bigger against us and Arsenal, we seem to fold. And like you said, Patrick, it seems like we set up right because we've been doing that week in, week out, but Formz, it seemed like Emerson and Reggie just, I don't know, they haven't been on their A game like that because they weren't doing their wing back role, as in a sense, trying to create space and getting behind. There was just nothing there.
Unpopular opinion, get rid of Sergio Reguilon in the summer, please and thank you. I'm saying
this from a while ago.
You know what? And I remember as well, last time we were on here together, you were saying the same, but in terms of the lineup, I understand that he had a longer injury and Reguilon was only out for a week, but before he got injured, Cess was doing bits. Like he was doing all right. He was getting forward. He was tracking back. He was doing exactly what he was asked of. And I just think that, especially the past couple of games, I haven't seen anything, maybe 1 or 2 good things, but I haven't seen anything great from Reguilon for a long time. And every time he's on the ball, I'm either
Formz, look at Kev's comment.
Fair play. No, I'm actually glad that I'm not one of the only ones, but it's like, look, Emerson is Emerson. We've got no choice. We have to play him, and we know what he's like. He's not. Look, he's got to go as well, isn't he? It hasn't worked out for him. He's not the player we need / want. So I'm not really going to blame that loss on the right wing back because we know what it's like. But having said that, just because one wing back is fluffing it up, it kind of puts a bit more pressure on the other side. And you'd think coming from a team like Real Madrid and putting in some performances when he joined us that were half decent and made us go, oh, hello, I like this boy. You just think he'd be used to that pressure and he'd take on that responsibility. Emerson's all about the haircut, honestly. But it's kind of like, it's so disappointing to see a player that came to the club with so much potential. I understand that he came as a right back, but it's just such a shame to see him not do what we thought he was going to do. He gets the ball and he either passes it back or he gives up possession and it's starting to really, really annoy me. But other than that, in terms of the lineup, I think you can't really question it or change anything because everybody else has been as solid as they have been. And that front three, none of them turned up. None of them turned up. I'm gonna kind of excuse Kulusevski on the basis that he's 21. He's young. He's not gonna have a star-studded game every single game. He's obviously still new to the Premier League. I know he's hit the ground running, but look, he's young. Whatever. He also kind of, I think, needs that boost from the players behind him, and he needs that boost from Kane and Son because when they're on fire, they light the team up. Kane fell asleep. Everyone's been saying, we're probably going to touch on it later, but everyone's been saying, oh, he shouldn't have gone to America. He was there for 3 days. That's not going to change his body clock. He got back on Tuesday. He trained enough, so I'm not blaming it on that. Son, I mean, he had a bit of an off blip, like maybe last month or for a couple games, and then he really came back and hit it hard. I just feel like nobody had that gas in them. No one had that gas in them. And like Patrick said, they were blocking the passing lanes. They weren't giving us any space, and we love to run into space, and they would just, you know what it is? It's almost like Conte came with a plan. In the first 15 minutes, we knew that plan wasn't going to work, but we didn't have a plan B. So we were like, let's just play the game anyway. That's what it seemed like to me.
And I'm glad you've kind of mentioned that as well, because obviously we get Jay's thoughts on the lineup as well. But it seemed like you said we were going out with this game plan because it's been working every time. But Jay, I'll come to you because I know you touched on it when we were at the game. It seems like we have this one tactic, which is if we come against a team that plays a low block or that sit off us, we can't do anything about it.
No, and I think going back to the lineup, I love to see a strong starting 11 start every week. Obviously, with players going in and out of injuries. However, I do think that if you don't change it up often, not all the time, but at least sometimes, teams can start to really game plan against you. This starting 11 we've seen has been the starting 11 over and over again. And the reason it's been that is because we're winning. And, everyone always says, you don't mess with a winning formula. But that Graham Potter is a very tactical manager. He will game plan for his opposition. He won't necessarily play to his team's strengths. He will play to your weaknesses. And you saw that with how they lined up. You said about Kulu Formz. That was because, in my opinion, he was up against the best player on the pitch for the game. Cucurella was incredible that match. Fair. And whoever went out there had absolutely no chance against him. And you could tell that Brighton were really prepared for us. It was like they saw the Harry Kane flick onto Son goal on repeat all week for training. Because whenever I don't know if you guys saw it, whenever Kane dropped deep, a Brighton player would step 5 yards off Son every single time without fail. And that goes straight back to what we were saying about game plan. As soon as someone figures out what we're doing, there's no way around it. And it was just lethargic and slow. And, like Formz said, we kind of played the game till half time. Everyone in the stadium thought, all right, Conte's going to, give them the hair dry. We're going to come out a different team. And we didn't.
Like, it's a great analysis, like what you said, in the sense that obviously, because I was sat with you and you were going, look at Dunk. He's watching what Kane's doing, and like you said, the other players around dropped off Son because, like you said, that flick on was going to happen. So I think John here says Potter had 5 in midfield to dominate us easy, and I think Patrick, that it is credit. I think we have to give credit to Brighton, and I know lots of us are saying, "Oh man, it's only Brighton. We should have done them," but they did play to their strengths. Basically, they nullified us.
Yeah, no, the thing is, you can't say it's only Brighton, because for me, Graham Potter is one of the best managers in the league. And I've been saying it from day dot. I know a lot of people weren't with me, but I was saying if we weren't going to go for one of the big names, we should go get Graham Potter. In the end, it didn't transpire like that. We got Nuno. It didn't work out. We are where we are with Conte. So in the end, it worked out. But I really rate Potter, and I think he's going all the way to the top. He is a tactical genius. And I know people might laugh at what I'm saying because it's Brighton, but if you look at what he's doing with those players, he improves players, he brings players through, he does it on a shoestring budget. And like Jay's saying, he actually has a game plan for every team he plays. They did a number on Arsenal last week, and they played completely different to the way they played on Saturday against us. So it shows the guy knows what he's doing. It's not lucky wins. He knew exactly what he was doing in both games. He stifled us completely, as I said, cut off the passing lanes, like Formz and Jay were saying. Dunk literally man-marshalled Kane. Even when Kane was not deep, but in his own penalty box, he didn't give him a breath of space. They matched Son's runs every time. Cucurella was getting under Kulusevski's skin, and Kulusevski lashed out and got a yellow on another day that could have been a red.
It should have been a red.
Yeah, we got away with one because he 100% elbowed him. And on another day, if the referee gives a red card, VAR not overturning it. So Cucurella knew what he was doing. He was being naughty with what he was doing. But at the end of the day, it's dark arts and it's part of the game. If Lamela or Romero were doing that, we're clapping and cheering. So fair play. But yeah, they didn't play a good game. It wasn't nice to watch. They time wasted from day dot. They feigned injuries. They faked injuries. They were pissing me off. But at the end of the day, they did exactly what they needed to do to get the win. So you've got to respect it. They came away to one of the better teams, and they outplayed us from minute 1 to minute end. And it was just, I saw that goal coming a mile away. I was just like, oh, for fuck's sake, Like, I was so pissed off, but I wasn't angry in the sense where I'm screaming and shouting and cut, because I knew it was going to come, because we just didn't. It's like, as good as we've been, we were so naive in that game. We were just so naive. Even the way we were passing around the back, backwards,
which is so weird for an Antonio Conte side to be so complacent. Because I mean, take the Villa game. That first half, we could have been 3 down easily by the halftime whistle, and then you imagine he takes them into the dressing room and goes, "What the fuck are you doing? Stop being so complacent." And then we come out and then we win the game as much as we did, and it's almost like well, I mean, Hollie touched on it before. It's like you go into half time, you go into the dressing room, you expect him to slap him, and you expect him to say, "What are you doing?"
No.
Like I understand that this team aren't the best, and I understand that we've been on a great run of form, but get out there and show them that you're Champions League worthy. And it was like a boring 90 minutes of football.
It was horrible, man. It was horrible. And, you know, maybe we are being a bit too arrogant, because I thought after the Newcastle second half and after the Aston Villa second half, we just turn it on again. But sometimes you can't always do that. If you're not up to speed and the other team's already got 45 minutes on you, it's hard to like step it up. It's almost like Stevie Bergwijn, awful miss. But can I really get onto him when he only plays 3 or 4 minutes a game? Like, you can't really expect someone to come in cold and turn it on. The same way, if you've not played for 45 minutes, it's hard to sometimes always turn it on for the next 45. We should be on it from day dot, minute one. We know what's at stake, and we are actually in the driving seat. And that's what frustrates me. We dropped the bag. Luckily, other teams, as we get into it, aren't as good as well. But we got away with one there.
And it is really interesting as well, because obviously against West Ham, we came firing out cylinders. And I don't know whether it's what I can't remember if it's Graham Roberts or Mickey Haslam were talking about, the fact that you get up for those kind of games. But we should be getting up for every game, because like Conte keeps saying, these are the last games that are finals for us. But it just seems against Brighton, it just didn't work. Jay, I'll come to you, because I remember you saying this right at the game when you sat next to me as well. The fact that obviously I've lost my train of thought now. For us, it seems like, I can't remember what I was going to say. I've lost it. It seems for us that obviously we can't get up for these games, but I feel like with these finals happening, they're the type of things we should be getting up for.
Yeah, well, I don't know whether it was motivation, and I think the players suffer a little bit from the fan base as well. I don't know whether it's the same thing. Like, obviously, I was on this podcast last week, and you know, the run of form we're on. It seems like whenever we go on a run of games like this, we kind of dismiss opposition quite easily going off other results. And we kind of forget the Spursy nature that we all know. You know, I hate using that word, but it is, you know, it is that. And I think the players, it really, and I think Patrick got it right with, you know, it was just arrogant. It was just arrogant. It was, we're going to pass the ball around the back, and you're at some point going to press us. You know, someone's going to play a ball into Kane. Kane's going to do a world-class pass. Son's going to run through, square it to Kulu. Oh, it's a classic, you know, Conte ball goal. And Brighton were like, nah, don't fancy that. We're just going to sit here. Like, what are you going to do, man? And it's like, and I watched it, and I was amazed at the end, because it did make me think. Because I thought, oh, we're doing all the passing around the back. We're doing all of this. Surely we won the possession over the whole game. We didn't even have the most of the ball, you know, in the whole match, which is mad considering, you know, like you said, the arrogance we played in. But I just saw a really good comment from Kev about the Conte ball with the wing backs. The difference is with the Inter Milan team that won the Serie A is the wing backs that they had were so good going forward, and the 3 centre backs in that system were so good that the wing backs could focus on going forward, could focus on being that attacking presence, because, you know, you had Bastoni, De Vrij and Skriniar sitting there who are good enough as a 3 to do a job that the wing backs could push on. You know, you got Perisic on one side and Hakimi on the other. You know, I'd be terrified if I was an opposition, and I would be pegged back. But a Premier League defence is going to be worried about being pegged back by Emerson and Reguilon? Probably not. And I think that just exactly what happened at the weekend. Brighton were not scared of the wing backs, and they went, come on then, what you got? And we had nothing.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there, Jay. I'm sorry I forgot what I was going to say. It was a really good point, but I forgot now. But like you said, it's true. We don't have, and I think it shows against these teams, like you said, the arrogance of like, yeah, they're going to come on to us. But they never did, because they knew that game plan, because Potter did his homework and he told that to the players. I know we've obviously touched on Kulusevski and Bentancur, but Formz, I come to you for this one, because they did get early yellows. And I don't know whether that was something to the reason to why we weren't seeming to push forward enough in case that they got another one, because I don't know what was going on the ref, but I feel like it could have been either or with that ref, as in some challenges looked okay from where I was. I mean, I was quite far away, but they looked all right. And then he'd give it for something that I didn't think was necessary. Would you think maybe those yellows early on maybe fragmented the team slightly?
I mean, look, the ref was probably one of the most inconsistent refereeing, it was just one of the poorest refereeing games I've seen live for a while. But other than that, on your question, I think it's different with the two players. I think with Bentancur, I don't think getting an early card phases him, because I mean 2 minutes later he's already putting in challenges and you go, whoa, geezer, slow down. But it's I don't think that phased him in the slightest. I just think it was too many players, if not all of them, had an off day. And then with Kulusevski, again, I think both of them coming from a club like Juventus, where the pressure is so high on every single player to just be at that top level. I think they've probably been trained to deal with or slightly adapt their game, but not too much if they've been booked early. And that's just purely on the assumption and knowing how high pressure the environment is at Juve. But I mean, look, it came down to Conte's system, because it's so favorable in terms of wing backs. It kind of leaves us with no real option in the midfield. And when you've got Brighton, who are essentially playing 5 in midfield up against our 2, it's never going to be one of those games where we're going to be the dominant side, which is so. And I've got so many thoughts in my head right now, and I just want to scream them all out. But it comes down to so many different factors, and the summer's going to be massive, and we need some creative players who are going to look up, see something, and half a second later make a decision, and a good decision at that. I think Højbjerg as well. I know you asked about Bentancur and Kulusevski, but just to tangent a bit, when it came to Højbjerg, there were so many times in that game where you see him pick up the ball, look around, and no one's okay. Brighton were blocking off some lanes, but no one's doing anything about it. So Højbjerg's having to kind of ping a dead ball nowhere. And then the fans are getting frustrated because he's not picking a pass out right. It's like, well, Højbjerg shouldn't be the one to be doing that. People should be getting into spaces. I'm waffling on, but you get what I'm saying.
No, I get what you mean, because there was times as well I thought players could drive into space, but it never kind of happened, because if you drive into that space, at least it pulls someone out to come and close you down, regardless if you've been told to sit. But it's true, there wasn't enough movement off the ball. And I know we slightly touched on Kane, and I am going to bring it up because, Patrick, I'm going to come to you for it. Now, I totally disagree with the statement of that he's jet lagged, he's rushed off to the Masters, because everybody had a poor game. It wasn't just Kane. And it seems when everything goes wrong, rather than saying Kane's the man that pulls us through everything, it's him straight away. And I know that's the same with our British media anyway with Kane, but not Spurs fans.
Yeah, there's always a scapegoat, unfortunately. You see it at United with Ronaldo and Pogba. You see it at other clubs. And unfortunately for us, it's Kane. And it's so weird because the guy's a model professional. There's no way Kane would do anything that doesn't sit right with himself and the club. The guy is other than him doing an interview and trying to force the move and all of that rubbish, the guy's never put a foot wrong, like ever. And he wants Tottenham to be in the Champions League as bad as we do. He's Spurs through and through. So he's not going to, detriment himself and the team for the sake of I don't know what people are thinking. He had a weekend bender or something. He was over there for a couple hours, private jet there, private jet back, training all week. It's just a bad day at the office. I honestly think that, and a lot of my friends are panicking and overdoing it, and I'm like, listen, we've lost 2 out of the last 8, we've won 6, we've been scoring goals in bunches. Every team is due a bad game here or there. Liverpool have had a bad game here or there. What is it? Man City they lost to Crystal Palace. Yeah, exactly. And us, there you go. Chelsea got spanked the other day by Brentford. It happens, man. Every team can have. Because we're in such a crucial point of the season and we've gone on a really good run, everything's being magnified. So I'm just like, just calm down. It's only one loss in the last how many? 2 out of the last eight. Like I said, it's not as bad as we're making it out to be. Of course, there's manners in which you lose a game, and the fact that we went out without a fight, that's what is worrying me and is really pissing me off. And like Formz said, there's so many things I want to scream about, but we've also got to relax a bit and just not overdo it. I'm sure the guys will turn up. That's it. Woosa. Breathe. And it is frustrating, of course, because like you were saying, Holes, about Højbjerg. Why is Højbjerg on the ball trying to ping passes? And there was a time when he was like on the ball, dawdling, and then he got picked off, and they had a counter on us. But that's not his job. He shouldn't be on the ball trying to do that. That's not his role. Too many players had an off game. It is what it is. It can happen, man. Over the space of a season, every team has these games. But obviously right now, business end, we don't want to see that. And like I said, the loss came out of nowhere for me. I know you can lose a game, of course, but I didn't see that kind of result happening or coming. So I'm just hoping and praying that it is a one-off and we go again and we go on another mini run. And other than the Liverpool game, I want us to win every game, man. No excuses now. I don't want to see any more of that kind of crap. Hopefully they get off the system, dust themselves off. They realize they are human. They do have to put a shift in. Sometimes when it's coming too easy and you're smashing teams 4-0, 5-0, 3-1, you can kind of get complacent. And I think that's what happened, if I'm being honest.
I think that's like the best way to kind of overview it, in the sense that everybody just kind of thought this is going to be a walkover, and it wasn't. Yeah. It really wasn't. Now, talking about, obviously, we spoke about Conte and the tactics, but the one thing that obviously there's not a lot you can do, but seeing Winks come on, and I probably never would have said this maybe last year or the year before, but seeing Winks come on for Bent, oh my word, I nearly lost my head. So Jay, I'll come to you. What was going through your mind as soon as you saw Harry Winks on the board and he was coming on for Bentancur?
He might as well have come on with the bag on his head behind you. To be honest, you were talking earlier about Bentancur being on a yellow. I would have rather had Bentancur on a yellow than Winks on the pitch. There was a tiny bit of a renaissance when Conte came in, and I say a tiny bit, where he kind of played a couple of games. We were like, okay, we can deal with this. But then Bentancur came in. Obviously, that was his form going up was obviously massively helped by the skip injury. But him coming on, I said it to you, sat next to you in the stadium. I said, "Oh, we want to win. We want to draw or lose this game, because you don't bring Harry Winks on to win a game." I'm all for Harry Winks being a squad player, a utility player, but you bring him on to see games out, to just pass the ball backwards, forwards sometimes, mainly backwards and sideways, just to keep the ball, frustrate the opposition. Obviously, with a lot of the fan base, and I'm not talking about Hollie here because she's purely on looks, but he's obviously got the Tottenham. He's obviously got the Tottenham tax, which is, because he's come through the academy. A lot of people kind of see him as, oh, he's a Tottenham boy, we don't mind him, etc., etc. I'm going to carry on whilst Hollie isn't here, unless you want to scooch over if you're not coming in. But yeah, so for me, I just think it was the wrong substitution, and it was such a mute mic. It was such a weird substitution, super weird substitution. Yeah. I just don't get it. I just don't get it.
Do you know what I don't get as well? Sorry, Hollie, I know you're about to say something, but I also don't look. He missed a sitter. I understand that he's not the most reliable, but I love Steve. I don't understand why Conte's opting, and this is every game. Conte's opting for Lucas over Steve, like as the first sub, because in recent weeks / months with his national team, Steven Bergwijn has been okay. He's been scoring goals, obviously more so for the Netherlands recently. He did what he did against Leicester. Who did he score against recently? Was it Everton or somebody scored the 5th goal or something, or against Newcastle? So he to me is way more reliable as a substitution than Lucas, who I'm gutted about Lucas Moura, because this season, at the start of the season, I went, this is going to be his year. And it obviously just hasn't been. But I'm so annoyed that he's still choosing Moura over Bergwijn as the first sub. And that was just a little tangent on.
No, but it's true to the fact as well, though. Like you said, why would you choose someone? Yes, okay, he's done it in the past. But like I say, in recent history, it's Bergwijn that's come on that's got that goal, not Lucas. Slightly backtracking slightly, as I like to be devil's advocate. I'll come to you, Patrick, because obviously, as we know, Harry Winks, even though he's got a bag on his head, he was one of my faves. But do you think he should get as much criticism as he did for Brighton? I know he came on and then they scored, but do you think it's maybe a bit harsh because everybody played so poor?
I don't know. The thing is, like, if you're a realist, like Jay's saying, you know what Harry Winks' capabilities are. We know he's not going to come on and provide a cutting pass, or he's going to take on or take out two guys and thread it through to Son or Kane. That's not his game. Or he's not going to, be on the edge of the box and ping a ball top bins left or right corner. It's not his game. So what do we expect? He might do that once out of 100, but him coming on, like Jay was saying as well, I didn't understand it. I didn't get it. But we can't really dig him out because he's never been that guy anyway. So what do we expect? I understand, like Formz is saying, Bergwijn not getting a proper run out because against Leicester, he saved our ass. He come on against Newcastle. I know the game's won, but he clinical goal, one-on-one with the keeper, slots it home. When he's playing for Netherlands, he scores goals. So we know the guy has got that in his locker. So for me, he would be the first out. More of this year, it's just been poor, man. He's just got to call a spade a spade. His touch on Saturday was awful as well. In tight areas, the ball's bouncing off him. We know he's a speed merchant. We know he can take out a guy and run one-on-one. He can create something. But in tight areas, his touch is atrocious. And, for someone who's Brazilian, I just don't get it. It's just not good enough, man. So to call out Harry Winks, I know fans are frustrated. Yes, he needs a refresh. We need a reset, all of that stuff. But yeah, he is poor. But to call him out, it doesn't make sense because we know he's poor. We don't expect. It's like us, like Jay was saying about the whole. No, it was Formz actually about the whole Emerson thing. We know what he's capable of now. We know he's not going to cut a man, beat a man, shimmy, drop a shoulder, whip a crossing. We were getting at our Doherty. Doherty was popping up, scoring goals, starting to be the guy that we saw at Wolves. We're not going to get that from Emerson, unfortunately. So it kind of doesn't make sense to get onto these guys. We know their capabilities now. We just got to see these last games out, and then we go again in the summer. But yeah, Emerson as well. He frustrates me so much because he never looks forward. He never wants to take his man on. He either doesn't want the ball, he passes back, or he'll try a little flick or wink or dink, and then 9 times out of 10, the opposition are reading that, and obviously it's a turnover. So yeah, it's a bit harsh to get onto these guys when you know what they're capable of or not capable of. But I don't know. I guess people are frustrated.
Yeah, I think so. And obviously, when they tweeted out that it was his 200th appearance, you kind of think to yourself, now is not the time.
Read the room, man. Read the room.
Yeah. He just infuriates me. Like I say, he's still got a bag on his head, and he'll still have that on the. Jay's just put this in the comment section. Fabulous, thank you for that, Jay. But yeah,
I love that. By the way, every time Emerson, whether he's had a good game or a bad game, you go straight on his social media, and I don't remember what game it was. There was a compilation that he put together, or his team put together. And there was like 4 different clips. One of them he made an okay run, and then the 3 other clips he made like really short passes. And I was like, what are you trying to flex, bro? Like, you're the worst player on the pitch.
It was against Villa. I think it was against Villa last week. Yeah. One of them even gave the ball away. I'm like, how did that make the cut?
It's like, what is happening, bro?
Oh dear. I mean, sadly, obviously, we do have to speak about the goal. I know, Patrick, you slightly touched on it, but again, just seems to be like, right, the sun shines out, let's go and have a stroll in the park, and then we'll give away a 90-minute goal. I mean, Jay, I'll come to you quickly because obviously we were sat there and we were that end where the goal went in as well, so that was brilliant. But it just seemed to me that obviously Trossard dropped a shoulder and it sent Dyer to the shops. I just didn't understand how it was so easily done like that.
It was just so predictable from the minute it wasn't cleared.
Yeah.
From the minute it wasn't cleared, got to give credit to the Brighton fans because we were right up their end. I don't know if it was up the other end of the stadium for people, but they were
horrible.
lively.
Yeah, it was horrible watching them. Even when we were leaving, he was.
The worst was when they were singing "North London Is Ours." I was myself. Yeah. I was in a bad mood because of the game, but you can't help but laugh at that.
No, but the goal itself was like, you know, Patrick alluded to it at the start. It was just an absolute shit show. Sorry, it was, man. It was just the most Spurs goal to concede ever. You know, Romero has about 57 chances to clear it. It then comes off him, and then I don't know. Like you said, with it wasn't so much for me that Dyer got dropped with the shoulder. It was Dyer was like 10 yards away from him. So
and
then
he kind of turned his back on it as well.
Yeah.
It was weird. It was
well weird. And then obviously from that range, you know, Hugo's got no chance. And you know, it was a little Timmy toe poke, but it was just, it summarized the game. And I tweeted 2 seconds after it went in, just one word: deserved. You know, because they deserved as much as their performance was good in the sense of nullifying us, but also we deserved it for just not doing anything. And like you said at the beginning, Patrick, if you're not going to win the game, definitely do not lose it.
Exactly, see it out, man. Jesus Christ, awful.
And I think that was, like we said, it's kind of like, it's the story of the whole game, isn't it, Formz? Because I know we keep going on about the fact we were slow, the fact of this, but you've literally got about 2 minutes left. Like, just concentrate for those last 2 minutes to get a point.
Yeah, it's one of those things, and I know we keep saying that teams are going to have this game every so often, even if they're in good form. But I mean, yeah, you're right. Just don't switch off. It was almost like, oh, the game's nearly done. Let's just keep playing how we're playing, and we'll see it out at 0-0. And Brighton went, oh, the game's nearly done. We could probably nick something here. And the difference in mentality is blatant, because look at what they went and did, and look at what we went and did.
Pretty much nothing. But I think that's the thing that's frustrated everyone. Like, we didn't see it coming. The fact that it happened the way it did, the fact we didn't really bother to go and play at Brighton, I think it's, like we've said it this whole time, this whole stream, it is frustrating. But obviously, I'll come to you, Patrick, because there are some more finals that Conte keeps saying. We have got games. We are still above them lot down the road. So I think we just need to try and wipe this one under the carpet, try not to dwell on it too much. But next up is Brentford. Looking at their recent results, it will be a very difficult one. And I don't think it's going to be, I know this one ended in a loss, but I don't think it's going to be as easy as predictable as we all thought the Brighton game was going to be.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I see us winning the game. We need to win the game. They are a tricky team. They're in good form. Like I was saying about all teams really at this end of the season, you need to respect them, but I don't expect us to go there. We need to just go there and play. I do believe they won't camp. I hope so anyway. I hope they won't do what Brighton did and just stifle us. But then, to be fair, Graham Potter was given Thomas Frank essentially a playbook of how to stifle and beat Spurs. Just be bitty, waste time, you know, drop to the floor, roll around, do all of that nonsense, and then try and nick it late on. So I hope they come to play. It will be tough. Of course, it will be tough. Every game's tough at this end of the season. It's a weird one because when you end up beating a team 4-0, 5-1, everyone's like, yeah, whatever. But at the beginning of the game, or there's phases through the game when they're still tight and it can go either way. But we just need to turn up and show our quality, and we should be okay. I expect us to win every game apart from the Liverpool game, really, if I'm being honest. And the good thing for all of us lot is that Arsenal and Man United have a tough run of games, man. Arsenal have got Chelsea, United, and West Ham. United have got Liverpool. I think they got Chelsea, and then they've got another tough game as well. So they've all got tough games where they will definitely drop points. And obviously, United and Arsenal playing each other, one of them are dropping points anyway. So that's good. But we just need to do our job now and see it out. We were so lucky that Southampton beat Arsenal, because after we lost, I was like, knowing our luck now, Arsenal would front them 3 or 4-0. But I don't know how, but you know, they lost. So that gave us, I mean, we ended the day on exactly the same points and goal difference, which was amazing. It's annoying because we could have at least extended the gap, but at least we didn't drop or they didn't close in on us. So yeah, we just need to do our job, man, and all the rest will take care of itself.
And I think before we quickly get on to that, I just want to bring this up from John. I want to say thank you, John, again for your super chat. I really do appreciate it. He says that Davies, Dyer, and Winks need to go. Poor performance week in, week out, no excuses.
Ooh,
And,
I'm not sure about Dyer, you know.
Yeah, same, man.
I know he had a bit of a shambles with Trossard dropping the shoulder, but I think he's been good. I'm not going to lie. I'm the first to call someone out when they're not good. But I'm also the first to give someone praise when they are good. And I think Dyer has been good. I would definitely keep him. Not saying he has to start every week, but he's good enough to definitely be in the squad.
And I think go on, Thoughts.
I was going to say, and with Davies as well, look, it's so obvious that we are screaming out for a world-class left-footed centre-back. Yeah. So, and we have to bring one in because Davies isn't, as much as I think arguably this has been his best season in the Tottenham shirt under Conte, but he's obviously not that player that is going to be trusted enough to take us to that next level. So yeah, I agree that Davies needs to be replaced, but I definitely wouldn't get rid of him because he's a solid backup. And Dyer, I think, I mean, look, the first half of the season, I was the one saying, "Oh, Dyer's been our best player. Dyer's been our best player. Dyer's been our best player," and I don't agree with that now, but I think that he's definitely been one of the standouts for me in terms of he's been more often than not, he's kind of been that calm at the back.
Yeah, I think he's a good player, you know. And when other guys are making the England team, like Ben White, how is Ben White ahead of him?
Yeah, it's annoying me so much.
How is Guy ahead of him? There's loads of centre backs. I'm thinking how even Connor Cody and Tyrone Mings, how are they ahead of Dyer? Like, sorry, I don't agree with that. If you're picking players on form, Dyer's been better than all of those guys. So I don't.
Plus, he's had the bottle for England before. He obviously scored the winning penalty against Colombia. He scored the free kick against Russia. Like, put him back in, please.
I don't know. Has anyone seen the High Performance podcast that Eric Dyer was on with?
No.
So Eric Dyer went on the High Performance podcast, which is with is it Jake Humphries, the TV presenter?
Yeah, Jake Humphries.
So he went on that podcast with Jake Humphries because I've always thought exactly the same. When Eric Dyer's been informed, why has he not been in the England team? Southgate does not want him. That's it. That's it. Eric Dyer could be the best centre back in the league. And essentially what he was told when he wasn't picked for the squads for the Euros was that in this system, you will not get in this team.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know that. And obviously in the room as well, Harry Maguire, he's obviously better than him, no doubt. All these guys are getting picked ahead of him. It's a shambles, really.
My heart hurts hearing that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's mad. I didn't even know that either. That is crazy. But John says we need to stop living in the past. And I know we do. But I think at the moment, the trouble is I don't think...
Steve Formz is biased. He actually...
Love Dyer, man.
I think we just don't have the option at the moment to be able to go out and buy a new centre back, have the option to go out and buy someone to replace Davies. We just don't have the funds to do it because we need to go and fix everywhere else first. But we'll skip back to obviously the hang on, I can't say his name. Credit has come in with another super chat. Thank you so much. Dyer looking better comes down to having a top class defender to his right and 3 centre back system. His weakness is getting covered big time. I mean,
fair enough.
That is a good point.
Yeah, but if he's playing well, he's playing well, regardless. I mean, you know, like Chelsea play 5 at the back, so their centre backs look better than what they are in the 4, of course. But give the guy credit if he's playing. I know, obviously, like I said, the back end of the game on Saturday, he didn't cover himself in any glory. But other than that, he has been good.
You say that you... Go on, Formz. No, go on.
I was going to say, remember the Palace game at the start of the season where they battered us and he got injured early?
Yeah.
Him getting injured early really, really affected that defense. Like I was saying before, he brings that sense of calm. He's the leader at the back. I think when it comes to Romero, he's obviously Rolls Royce, but he's I guess, look, he's young. It's a new kind of country. It's a new league. So it's kind of like he's not going to be the one to step up and be that leader. I understand that Davies has sometimes worn the captain's armband for us in the past, but again, he's not that guy. And when Dyer came off, it was like you kind of lost that confidence at the back. And then for the few games that he didn't play, it just didn't look like we were the same without him. And then he came back and we started putting in some solid defensive performances. So when you look at a situation like that, it's kind of, you don't realize what you had until it's gone. And I think that was clear when Dyer got injured.
I think the thing is as well, and I hate that. I I know obviously with 3 centre backs, it's going to be guarded, but I also disagree. I think just because you play 3 at the back, it doesn't mean one of your centre backs is bad. Like that's not for me. That's not it. If you look at, I wouldn't mind in a back 4. I don't know who my right back and left back would be, but in a back 4, I wouldn't mind if it was Dyer and Romero.
Yeah,
I wouldn't. If that. But the thing is, for me, and the comparison that everyone's looking to, and we're talking about Brentford, which I'll wait to say, with Brentford, everyone is pointing to that Chelsea 4-1 win. That's all everyone is talking about, talking about that was, an amazing performance. But we are the only team on planet Earth that can't seem to beat Chelsea with a back 4. Everyone else and their nan can beat Chelsea with a back 4. And it just like, that's, I don't see us having that problem with Dyer and Romero. If they were our 2 centre backs and 2 good defensive fullbacks, because that's the thing. If you drop to a 4, you can't be doing all this wing back action unless you're going to have an old fashioned CDM that's going to sit between the 2 and then essentially play a 3 back anyway. So for me, I totally disagree that all in this case, Dyer's he's been shielded a tiny bit, but I don't think enough that enough on his
100. I think he's done well, and he's been one-on-one. He's been clearing the lines, heading the ball out. He is a commander. He is a leader. I've seen him at games screaming at people, getting people into shape. I think he's a good player. He's not the best centre back in the world, but you could do a lot worse than him, definitely.
And John's coming just as I want to get on to Brentford. John's is coming with another super chat. Thank you so much, John. I'll put a bang with it. We also need a goalkeeper. Oh no, it's the free.
He's had enough.
Oh dear. I mean, we spoke about this last week.
No way.
Oh, I just read what John said. John,
Henderson. No, John.
I'm
John,
sure
you're a good guy, man. You're my guy.
We appreciate the super chat, but bro.
Yeah, no, I know John. He's a good guy. We follow each other, but yeah, I think you've been on the liquor, you've been on the gin with this one, John.
John's definitely been on something. I think Jay just died in the
Yeah,
background.
wow, no, I like Lloris, man, and Lloris has his deficiencies. He's never going to be great at playing out from the back. His obviously his clearances or his distribution is poor. But he's still, for me, one of the best shot stoppers in the league. He's still one of the best keepers for me in the league.
Yep.
But to then Meslier, Meslier's. I don't want to be horrible and say he's awful because he is a young keeper and he does Leeds just get bombarded. But he's not that great. And Henderson, even when De Gea's struggling, he still can't get in that team ahead of him. So that leads its own questions there.
Jay's still gobsmacked.
I'll mute myself so Jay can talk. Go on, Jay.
Oh my God. And like literally last week we had this discussion with Graham about goalkeepers. We went on an Arsenal podcast when we were supposed to play the North London derby. Me and Hollie went on together and they were ripping on Lloris. And I said, but a goalkeeper can only go on how his team's playing. If his team's playing low in confidence, the goalkeeper's going to be low in confidence. Simple as. Hugo Lloris, on his day, he is a World Cup winner. He is undoubtedly, in my mind, one of the best goalkeepers in the league.
100%.
And obviously, he's just,
John,
that's
but I'm literally just, and then you can carry on. John, that's so young for a keeper. That's so young for a keeper. 34 is so young.
His reflexes are second to none. His shot stopping ability is second to none. So even if he is 34, look at some of the saves he saved. Look, Aston Villa game. If it's not for him, he was my man of the match in the Villa game.
But here's the thing, right? On Adam's comment, Hollie, if you can put it up about Pope, I say this all the time when I talk to my friends about goalkeepers. Any goalkeeper looks good in a bad team. It's simple. Any goalkeeper looks good in a bad team. When we took Hugo Lloris on, he was playing in Lyon, who at the time were one of the big 4 in France. So when we weren't signing, like a middle of the road goalkeeper, he is a World Cup winner. What you think? Meslier is better than Hugo Lloris in the long term or short term? Never.
And even Nick
Never.
Pope. Nick Pope is an average keeper at best. His distribution is worse than Hugo's. His shot stopping ability is definitely worse than Hugo's. Yes, he's younger, but he's not great, man. He's not great. We can't be taking these mid keepers just because they're younger. It's not going to work.
Hugo's very, very good under pressure as well.
Yeah, he is.
Look at that. Look at the penalty saves against City, Arsenal. You
Yeah.
just have. It's baffled me how there. And John's not alone. There's so many Spurs fans that think that
it's
Lloris
weird.
done.
It's weird. We ain't getting better than unless you're shelling out 50 to 60 M's. You're not getting a better keeper than Lloris. So it's a why? Nah, he's not.
No,
He's
not
not
winding us up. He's not. He's still going.
John, I really appreciate your tenner, mate, and your fiver you sent me. But please, I've got to live with this man next to me. Please don't wind him up anymore. Jesus.
Send him the money back and so he can buy himself some more drinks.
Unreal. Unreal.
Oh dear. Anyway, let's move on away from Lloris and let's talk about Brentford. I know we've touched on it slightly. Adam said that Brentford will turn us over, and I hope they won't. But there is one man, obviously, that I'm gonna bring up because he is in a Brentford shirt, and that is Eriksen. So, Formz, I'll come to you first. What do we need to do to stop that man pulling all the strings?
Bring him home.
Or put him on corners.
That too. I mean, we got to walk into that stadium and go, Chris, just come and chuck a training gear on. Come, yeah. And then that's it. We're sorted. No, I think the two disadvantages of playing against Christian Eriksen now is that one, he's played with half our squad, and two, he just won the league with our manager. So if there is any player that is going to play to our weaknesses, it's that man there. I also think that they're in such good form, and he's got such confidence right now in the fact that he's contributing to goals for club and country. He's almost like in the best form of his life, which is crazy. It's one of them things where I think we have to focus on the players around him rather than him, because he's the midfield maestro. He creates from nothing, and he's encouraged by the team around him, but he is also the one that encourages the team around him. So I think if we focus on his teammates and kind of isolate him from being able to put the pieces together, I think we might be all right.
Wouldn't you rather man mark him? I'd rather man mark him. Mark him at the game, man.
Who's man marking him? This is my point as well with that, is you're talking about him being the knowledge and having all of this. Who are you going to stick on him? Højbjerg, who he plays with all the time at training.
Yeah,
Flip, play the Uno reverse card. Højbjerg knows how Christian plays, so I would stick him on
club and country. Yeah, I would stick Højbjerg on him, man mark him. If Eriksen doesn't have time to pull the strings, they ain't doing nothing. So that's what I would do. Man mark Eriksen. Yeah, of course you take your chances with Tony and Mbrepu and all of those guys, but 100% you stop the quality, which is Eriksen, and then let the rest take care of itself.
I mean, I can see both flips of the coins, being devil's advocate again, but you've just got to try and, like you say, nullify him, because he is the centre of everything that's going to happen. But then if you flip it on Jay's side, if he hasn't got those passing lanes, if other players are kind of shielded from his play, is he going to be able to play that killer pass? I mean, it might be a stupid.
But don't forget, Eriksen is also dangerous. Eriksen can bang one from 30 or 40 yards. So
with left and right.
Yeah, left and right. You don't want to give him time and space. So for me, man mark him. Don't allow him, because we've seen him run onto the ball against Chelsea, against Leeds, Leicester, whatever, and he's banged in some quality goals. So you don't want him to do that either.
I don't think it's good enough putting one man on him. We need more than one man on him. But the only problem is, because we're playing the system that we're playing, we've got two in midfield. If we've got both of our men on him, everyone else has got. It's one of them where it's like, I'm so glad I'm not Conte in his team, because it has to be such a tactical game for us rather than them. It's more so us, because they play the way that they do. They're on such high confidence right now. But I just think we might need to alter the way that we play. Otherwise, we're gonna get absolutely turned over.
The only positive I can think of is, obviously, we had Eriksen at Spurs, and obviously it was incredible and it was amazing. But we know as fans that Eriksen is a purple patch player a little bit. I think, and I know obviously we're talking about seeing him out of this game, but what if we game plan to take him out of the game and he has an awful game anyway? And then we've totally taken away from our game plan. We might change the system. We're talking about midfield. If Conte is as worried as the fans are and we are about playing Christian Eriksen, and he changes the system on purpose to stop Eriksen, but then not because of anything we've done, Eriksen has a bad game, then because we know Eriksen also has a bad game in him. Let's not forget how he left. Let's not forget how he left.
And I think the only thing that I would spin on that is the fact that he wasn't happy playing for Spurs in those last 8 months, and he was a player that was trained. So I like where you're going with it, Jay, but I also think that he's high flying, he's high in confidence. Let's not forget what obviously devastatingly happened to him. He's back playing the sport he loves. I think it is going to be very difficult in that kind of sense. And I think we are rightfully so to be worried. But it's true, if we change our game plan just to nullify him and then he does have a bit of a purple patch, then it means that obviously we have kind of wasted. I've just seen that from John. Thank you, John, again. Oh dear, you're definitely on a wind-up matching tonight, John. But thank you so much. There you go, it's on the lemonade. But before we obviously drop it, I want to kind of get your. I know it's quite hard to do a score prediction, but it's nice when you get the score prediction right. So I'll go around the room. So Patrick, with those kind of thoughts in mind, and Eriksen, what are you kind of hoping, especially for this top 4 race as well, that we go out and do?
3-1 Spurs. I think we beat them. I think we beat them quite not comfortably, because it will be tough in patches, but I think we will have more than enough quality to see the game out. They might score, so I don't think we'll keep a clean sheet, but I think we will win convincingly. So yeah, 3-1 Spurs.
Love it. Love the optimism. Formz, I come to you as well. What's your kind of prediction?
I kind of agree with Patrick, but I think it will be a bit tighter than that. I'm going to go 2-1. Just purely because I agree, we're not going to keep a clean sheet because of the way that they're playing. They're confident, and I just can't see it. But at the same time, if you base it on the last game, we might not have that many attempts on goal. So I'm just hoping that we're clinical with the ones that we do have. So I'm going to win. It's a happy time, but yeah. I'm going 2-1, not 3-1.
It is true. You said that because obviously we did have similar shots against Brighton. So hopefully, like you say, if Brentford want to bring the game to us, hopefully that gives us the opportunity to go against them as well, because we like playing teams like that. So Jay, I'll come to you as well. What's your kind of thought on this game? What's your prediction?
I think it's going to be 3-1 Spurs. I say this because I also agree that we're not going to keep a clean sheet. It's I think every Spurs fan on planet Earth is kind of thinking that we're not going to keep a clean sheet the way we're playing, and like you said, how Brentford are playing. The only reason behind the 3 goals for me, and we talked about obviously Brentford, seeing how Brighton played against us, but Brentford are also at home. They're not going to want to play like that in front of their fans. And I do think it is a thing where, and I think it's something that I've totally forgot about and just thought about now, but Brighton were the away team at the weekend. They could afford to sit behind the ball and not do anything. So I hope that obviously Brentford try and entertain their fans, try and play into our, into our ways. And then, we pick them off. So being positive, like I said, 3-1.
I like that. The 3-1 is the kind of vibe, but to level it out, I think I'll go 2-1 just because.
Thanks, Hollie.
That's right. No worries. Just because
all
of
wins, though. All wins, which is good.
Wins.
Yeah,
exactly. I'm just hoping that obviously they do turn out to be wins and not last week where we all predicted wins and they ended up to be a loss. But
watch us do them 6-0 now. Watch us do them 6-0. Steven Bergwijn will come on before Lucas Moura and score a second half hat trick. You heard it here first.
I love that. I'll keep that on record. But yeah, I'm going to go the same. I just think it's going to be a bit cagey. Obviously, we need to win now. Getting that lucky escape with Brighton and Arsenal, obviously losing to Saints. So I think that it is a must-win game, and hopefully we go out there and do it because we need to. So yeah, it was a good therapy session tonight. Thank you, John, as well, for winding up Jay. Really appreciate it. But before we go, I want to still do our goodbyes and say where we can find each other. So Patrick, I'll start with you first. Where can everybody find you doing your thing?
Yeah, I think it's right there. So Patrick Tyrant on Twitter, Patrick spelled the normal way, and then Tyrant, Tyriant. And then I'm also part of Views TV Official. That's our podcast. We record every Sunday 8:30 p.m. But if you jump on our YouTube channel, you can watch all the previous pods, and this week's pod is up there as well. So by all means, give us a follow and a subscription. And Hollie, it's been a pleasure. Jay, my guy, Formz, loved it, loved every minute of it. Thank you for having me on again.
That's all right, no worries. Thank you for coming on. And also, Formz, where can everybody find you doing your thing as well?
Type in Formz and whatever you want to type in Formz on, and I'm there. Whether it's Spotify, Apple Music, or any of the socials, Formz with a Z, and that's me. And thank you again, Hollie, for having me on. Hopefully next time it's a dub.
That would be nice, wouldn't it? But no, thank you again for joining me. And also, Jay, where can everybody find you doing your thing as well?
You can find me on the 3 T's, so that's Twitch, TikTok, and Twitter. Yeah, that was rehearsed. Formz knew that was rehearsed. You can tell.
I like that one.
Just not a lot of Spurs content, but I stream a lot of computer games, playing FIFA and now eFootball. So if you guys want to jump over and watch that, it's doing a Spurs past and present at the minute, and I've got Lamella's doing bits for me, so that's how fake computer games are. But yeah, so thanks for having me on, Hollie. I promise after this podcast I won't talk to you about John's super chats for the next hour.
Thank you, I really appreciate that. And just before we go, John is saying that he doesn't drink, he's not on the beer, but there we go. But thank you so much, John, for your super chats and like I say, winding Jay up. But no, it's been a great evening. Like I say, it's always annoying to talk about a loss, especially one that was frustrating as that, but when you talk it out, it doesn't feel so bad. So thank you to everybody watching. Please remember to like, comment, share and subscribe. That would be lovely. And until next time, come on you Spurs.